You know how sometimes you unbox a statue and it's like, cool, nice statue. And sometimes you unbox a statue and it's, holy shit. This is a holy shit statue. So it's 1980, I'm 15 years old, and the comics world is abuzz over the new Teen Titans with Marv Wolfman and George Perez taking the reins on that brand new title, that new interpretation of Teen Titans. And it was an exciting time. It was a time where comics had a lot more panels than they do these days. I mean, you actually, you needed 20 minutes, half an hour maybe, to read an issue of the Teen Titans because it had 47 panels per page. And it was very interesting to look at because Perez did these great cityscapes, and it was like, man, he really drew all those windows. It was really a fun time to be a comic collector. And so I did want a Deathstroke statue when I started buying statues a few years ago, but we know what happened with the Sideshow premium format. That wasn't one that was really worth our time or our money, at least in my opinion. So when one came along in the Samurai line, I took a close look at it, and I thought, wow, that is a really cool interpretation of the character, and in truth, it's a character that lends itself to the samurai treatment. So I was very excited. I ordered this a long time ago. It finally arrived, and I'm very excited to show it to you. Let's take a look. So out of the box, the first thing that occurred to me was the base is absolutely huge. And the second thing that occurred to me was that's the best base I've ever seen on a statue. I mean, I knew it was I assumed it was a head of a statue, and now I don't know that it is. I think maybe it's some sort of giant that he's just defeated and beheaded or something. But the detail is insane. I mean, look at the teeth and the tongue. I mean, there's a lot of detail there on the helmet that this guy's wearing. It is an amazing base. I mean, who cares about Deathstroke? Check out the base. It's crazy. So, stoked about that. Really excited about the base, although it's going to be hard to display. I just have to find the right spot for it. But Deathstroke doesn't disappoint either. Really, really nice. Look at that. He just looks so cool. Again, lots of details, lots of different textures. We saw the same thing with the Samurai Batman. He's got that cool ammo belt to go with the rifle. Look at that. How cool is that? So I'm so used to putting together Sideshow pieces. The last year I've been buying a lot of Sideshow and not any XM really. I forgot, it takes some time to put together an XM piece. There are 19 pieces, I believe, 17 and then the 2 portraits. So it took a little time. Some of the pieces are quite small and fragile. I'm going to have to remember that there are a lot of pieces because I tend to move my stuff around a lot, and there are several small pieces on this base that are separate. This guy right here is just that little bit right there. That's separate. This horn here is separate. There's a piece here that's separate. This rope down here, that's separate. So I have to remember all that. I don't want to be picking it up like this and trying to use this as support because it'll come right off. It is magnetized with a strong magnet, but I'll have to keep that in mind. And the cool thing about this statue is it's really nice even from the back. I really like, I don't know if this is I don't want to call it a skirt, some kind of sash or something. I guess it's a skirt in the Samurai line. But it just looks really, really cool. and the banner. I don't know what that means. Maybe someone can translate that. I love that portrait. Give you some close-ups. This is two pieces. They meet right there, right here. They join together. You got these two spears. A lot of detail on the back of the base. This piece is about 24 inches tall and about 16 inches wide at the base. All right, let's take a look at some of the switch outs. Okay, there's only 2 switch outs for this piece, which is unusual for a samurai piece. Most of the pieces in this line have a lot more switch outs. The Batman has like 5 portraits, 2 or 3 chest plates, on and on and on. This just has the unmasked portrait, which is nice. Some people have said it looks too cartoonish, but in hand, I like it quite a bit. I think I'll be displaying both portraits, but this one I like. One thing I want to mention, when you look at the manual, XM pieces always come with a manual on how to put them together. It doesn't look like this the top knot, that it should be inserted like this. It looks like these pieces should be down. You don't see them coming up like you do here. In the pictures in the manual, they don't do that. So it's very tempting, because it'll magnetize either way, to flip this, and so that those pieces go down and that you see the top knot over his hair here from the front. But it doesn't work that way. These pieces will butt up against this sword hilt here, and you'd run the risk of breaking those small fragile pieces if you do it the wrong way. So definitely insert it so that he's got a major cowlick there. That's the way I think it's supposed to be, otherwise it just doesn't work. But the portrait itself, I quite like. Originally, if you guys were paying attention to this when it was originally released, the unmasked head, he was bald, which is fine, nothing wrong with being bald, but Deathstroke's never been portrayed that way. It kind of looked like Jeff Bridges in the first Iron Man movie. I can't remember his character's name. But anyway, yeah, so it had the mustache and beard and bald. And it looked okay. I mean, if it was anybody else, it might make more sense, but, I don't think of Deathstroke as being bald. So several people made a fuss about it on Facebook, and XM listened and came up with this portrait, which I think is a very big improvement. Let's see if I can get real close. Got a nice scar there on his cheek and bottom of and above his eye. Blood in his eyebrow. So yeah, it looks pretty cool. And then the other switch out is removing the rifle and adding another samurai sword, a sheathed sword. So that was nice too. So it's a good alternative. Ooh, that's a nice angle. I like that angle with that portrait. Just go all the way around here. So the edition size on this is 999, which isn't unusual for an XM piece. But most of the samurai line has not been that high. Even most of the girls have not been that high. So apparently there was quite the demand for a nice Deathstroke statue. I'd be curious to know how many folks picked this up who aren't really buying the Samurai line, but just wanted a nice Deathstroke. Give you some more close-ups of the detail here. Paint application, to me, looks flawless. I'm happy to have received a perfect statue. I know one of the other YouTube reviewers received a damaged statue, which is always a major drag, especially from XM because they're so far away. It's not like returning something to Sideshow. But mine is problem-free, which is really nice. Here's the print. For those of you who haven't bought XM statues before, they include a free print with every statue. And this, I think, is pretty nice. A lot of them, you know, it looks very much just like a photograph of the statue that they've manipulated. And actually, this is the same thing, but they've done a better job of it. It looks really, really nice. I could see maybe framing this one up. So displaying it is going to be a little more problematic than I thought. I used to have the new Daredevil premium format right up there with Samurai Batman and Moon Knight. So I removed Daredevil, and I was hoping to put Deathstroke up there, but I don't think there's enough space there. So I'll fudge with it a little bit, see if I can make it work, but there's a chance that Moon Knight is going to have to move, and maybe just Batman and Deathstroke will be on that top shelf. I do want to put him on this shelving unit, which can hold a lot more weight. I've got most of my Sideshow stuff on these 42-inch Billy bookcases, but they're only 11 inches deep, which isn't deep enough for this statue, and I don't want to put a statue this heavy onto these bookshelves. So it's got to be either down here next to Thanos on throne, or up top next to Samurai Batman. But that bottom shelf, he'd be kind of hidden. So I think top shelf is going to have to be the way to go. But you know what? I enjoy moving my stuff around. I don't mind the challenge of finding a spot for him. So that's Deathstroke. I'm surprised at how deep XM is going on this line. I figured they might do 4 or 5 statues and then move on to something else, but they seem to have really committed to it. I mean, they announced Robin not too long ago. They just announced Nightwing. They had Harley debut a few months ago. So they're sticking to this line. It must be a big success for them because they're really going deep, and I'm curious what other villains we might see from this line. That could be really exciting. So if you got this coming, I can't imagine that you wouldn't be very happy. It's a tremendous statue overall. I really do think I'm probably going to use both portraits, and the base is just mind-blowing. It's just a really, really exciting concept instead of the boring old base that we often get. You know, you've got Gargoyle bases for Batman, and you've got Fortress of Solitude bases for Superman, and you kind of get boring. Batman's holding a batarang and ho-hum. But this is something new, and it doesn't look like anything else in my collection. I'm talking about the base in particular, and that's very exciting. So I'm happy. I'm really, really happy. Anyway, that's all I got for Deathstroke. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. If you did like the video, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I'm very close to 10,000, and I'm hoping to do that in the next month or two. But anyway, I will see you on Facebook. I'll see you on the message boards and at a convention near you. Have a really good night, guys, and have a very, very, very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Take care.